So today I wanted to do something a little bit different, a new series, I'll call it, for every Sunday. I want to start something I'm titling OSS, or Occult Science Sundays. Occult Science Sundays, because it's just going to be like a little class, and I just wanted to offload some of what I've learned living through life with the world. It's just going to be like a little class. Again, you don't have to tune in, but it's going to be every single Sunday. Um, and just the basis of it is kind of like a Sunday school. If any of you guys are religious or anything, um, not necessarily Bible study, but just like a class on spirituality and how spirituality and science are two sides of the same coin. They are very intertwined. They explain each other, you know. So I want to start off with talking about the basics before like we get into like any of the heavier. Ooh, I'm about to sneeze. um, but yeah, I don't remember the last time I sneezed. Um, but yeah, I want to start off with just like an introduction and starting off the basis of everything that this class is going to be breaking down, basically. And with that being, is that there are two shapes that are the most important shapes in the world, okay? And it is circles and triangles. Because circles and triangles are in everything. Everywhere you look, you could find a circle or a triangle, you know. Triangles are the very first shape that you can make using lines and vertices. You know, circles, those are technically just a point. Like, you can't create a circle because the circle is the beginning, it's the start, you know? But triangles are the first shape that are made with lines, and triangles are made from the most important number in the world, which is three. And three is the pattern recognition number. If, like, if you see things in pairs, which is, it's really easy, and it's just like, there was this very popular thing on TikTok where it's just like people could always see the pairs in the trio. But while you can notice a pair, things don't stick with you unless it is in threes. Like, it when there is that third thing, it just snaps in your mind like, oh, that is together. That is a group. And it's much easier to create groups when there is three or more. That also leads into the next point, which is that circles are also a three. Not only triangles are Not only are triangles three, circles are also a three. Because if you look at things coming full circle, that term, in that specific term, things coming full circle, it is usually the event happens. There is the first point. I would actually hold on. Let me draw it so that it's more. I have so many circles. It kind of looks a little bit crazy if you ask me, but right, that's a horrible circle. But circle, right? Event happens. Top of the circle. Point one. Point two. Event happens. Point one. second point happens, and then event either happens again or it is resolved. That is full circle. And right, a full circle, right? 360 degrees, which is divisible by 3. Sorry. And it's like perfectly divisible by 3. Uh, so 1 and 2. So, and then moving on from how threes are the most important number, back to triangles and circles. Organic shapes, or things that are rounded, things that don't necessarily make sense, things that don't have lines and aren't sharp, those are circles. Triangles are sharpened things, inorganic materials, metals, and stuff like that. Those are triangles. And every shape that can be created has a triangle within it. Like you could always find a way. If you put a line dividing something, there will be a triangle. So, those are the basics that you need to know for going forward in this little class, this little talk tidbit about how everything could be broken into triangles and circles. That includes us as well. Once you understand that basic knowledge, the rest of it should be able to come easily. But that leads us into our very first lesson, which is like the first place that we could apply it. And it's like just an easy little introduction, tapping your feet in the water, and that is breaking down a name, right? Names are a very big thing in general. I just now realized I wasn't wearing my glasses. Oh, sorry. I am so sorry. I meant to put on the glasses because it's just like, you know, cool teacher type, but that didn't happen. Anyway, lesson one, breaking down a name. And this is just going to be a short, small, little fun exercise. Okay. And it's just something easy and personal so that you could like understand where I'm coming from just a little bit more. And that is breaking down the patterns in your own name. So, when breaking down your name, it will be able to determine whether you are a circle or a triangle. And again, this isn't proven science, but then again, most occult science isn't. This is just my interpretation of it, right? All right. So the difference in between a circle and a triangle, a person who is a circle and a person who is a triangle. Circles are similar to organic material where things just come naturally easier, things just flow, understanding flows. While I would say triangle people are a little bit more logical, where things have to be backed up and proven, and like I'm not saying that that is a bad thing. I'm not saying one is better than the other. I'm just saying you guys come to understandings differently. Like one of them has a very structured, backed up way of thinking and understanding. The other one just understands things, but wouldn't be able to necessarily explain why they understand it. Um, okay. Now, on to what the little thing that I want you to do. So, first off, what we're going to do is what I want you to do is to write down or count. You don't necessarily have to write it down, at least not right now. The amount of names. Okay, so in your name, people have first, last. Sometimes they have middle. Not everybody has a middle name. Like, the only person who I could think of right off the bat is Abraham Lincoln. He didn't have a middle name. Some people don't have middle names. Some people have many. Some people have many first names. I am one of those people who has many first names. I have three first names, and I have two middle names. So count up how many names you have. And the rules for this are that an odd amount of names is a circle, an even amount of names is a triangle. Right. Yeah. Except for in the case of if it is divisible by 3. If it's divisible by 3, you are a circle. So in my case, because I have 3 first names, 2 middle names, and a last name, that means I have 6 names, meaning I am a circle. Right. And also, just because, things that people have not necessarily odd names, but that's what I was gonna say. People have like different ways of presenting their names. If your name is hyphenated, count that as 2 separate names. So if your name is like, I don't know, Anne dash Marie, you would count Anne and Marie separately. Now, that determines whether you are a circle or a triangle. There's also another little exercise that I want you to do, which is have your initials out. Whoops. Sorry, I'm writing down my initials. Is have your initials out, right? And this one is really just to determine what kind of person you are. So actually, it could probably be easier for me to whatever. Yeah, this is to determine what kind of person you are. So I'm gonna go step by step. Write down your initials, and then draw a circle and split that into 4 quadrants. And the next step you're gonna have to do before, like you have to do it before you even think about it. So what you're gonna do is you're going to take the 4 major subjects and write it in whatever order that you feel. Each subject goes to the quadrant. So for me, it would be, well, it would be like the 4 main subjects are language, math, social studies, history, and science. So for me, language would be ELA, English Language Arts, because I live in an English speaking country. Um, so you assign each of those to a quadrant. Write it outside of the circle so that it doesn't get all messed up for the next 10. So I'm just using, so just as an example, this is, I have E for English, M for math, S for science, H for history, right? So this also is dependent on like where you grow up still. In the direction that you write, I'm so sorry. It is supposed to be like evenly spaced. But as you write, just write the initials of your name. I'll show you the example because I know that that was probably confusing. Um, but I'll be back when I have it all drawn out. Okay, so it's not the neatest because it's not actually like even. Um, you can ignore repeats, but I mean, I did in my case because it's still going to just like overlap in general. But yeah, this is what I mean as an example. And basically, the places where it has the most overlap for me, it's for me using my name, it is in math and history that I have the most overlap. Those are the classes, or again, this is all dependent on the person, and it might not be true. It's just a fun little exercise. But depending on how many points overlap in each quadrant, that is like where your strong suit is. That is supposed to be intuition led, which is why I said put the subjects in the order that you want, and this one has to go before you put your name. Because when you lead with your intuition, it will show you the truth, right? So I have it mostly in my math and history quadrants, which is true. I was very strong in my math and history classes, and then the second place, it strongest. Sorry, the third place it would be the strongest. It's a little bit weaker in these areas, but in English, in science, with science being my weakest, and that is very true to me. Where I was a weaker student in English and science, even though I was well rounded, I still found trouble in those areas personally. Um, Again, I will reiterate, it may not be true with every person, and this, I'm the only person who has tested this, so don't have like a second opinion to say whether or not it is true, but such is with science in general. There isn't like a lot, like you have to get other people to verify whether it's true, and even then it's like it's probable. But anyway, that's just a little that's just a little testing that I wanted to do for our very first lesson. um yeah, so I want y'all to try that at home and then reflect on whether those places were actually, give me feedback. You know what? That's really what I want you to do, because I am just as much a student as you are. I would like you to give me feedback on whether the things that I've said and put out have been true in your life. Um so yeah, I want to hear whether I was right or not in guessing whether all those things were right about you, you know? And if not, then that's also information for me too. And yeah, that's just the little lesson homework review thing that I have for our very first lesson. Taking it easy because, it's the very first one. I'm new to this, y'all are new to this. It's going to be an ongoing series, and if you like it, next week's lesson is going to be not, it's going to continue on the same strain with names, but it will be the power of a name, which I have touched upon previously, but haven't gone fully in depth about. But even with all of these lessons going forward, it is just something that will be re-talked upon because and built upon, because that is these are basics, basis. These are the basics in the basis. So yeah, thank you for watching this video, And I hope you guys like tuning into weekly episodes of OSS. If you have watched this far, thank you, and I love you.